Today, in the 21st century, and in the first 16 years of it, we've celebrated many 50-year anniversaries of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, even the 1968 Fair Housing Act will come up in just about 2 years. Yet we still have many vestiges of racial segregation. We have what is known as the over-incarceration of African Americans and Latinos and other people of color in prisons, and known as the new Jim Crow. We have failing schools with high concentrations of poverty of black and brown children in what is known as de facto segregation. We still have discrimination in employment. We have certainly restrictions in voting, as we're coming up on the 2016 presidential year with voter ID restrictions, with continuing racial gerrymandering in legislative districts, and North Carolina is now the epicenter of voting problems, the way Mississippi and Alabama were back in the 1960s. So the more some things have changed, the more other things have stayed the same. We have great progress, though, in many aspects of life from the fruits and the victories of the 1960s Civil Rights Movement and the 1960s civil rights cases and statutes. Nevertheless, 50 years later, 62, after Brown versus Board of Education, we have more segregation than ever, and in other respects, we have still restrictions on voting. And so vigilance, they say, is the price of freedom. And what we learn is that with these setbacks, despite the gains in civil rights, we still have to be more vigilant. We still have to fight for those rights, or otherwise they will slip and slide back in largely what is known as America's history with white racism.